Hi, it's Meagan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you kind of our homeschool rhythms and routines and just a little bit behind the scenes on how we run our homeschool. So just a little bit of background information. I homeschool my two daughters. I have one who is 6.5 and one who will be 3 in a couple months. So as far as curriculum goes, we use The Good and the Beautiful for my 6-year-old. And we use Busy Toddlers Playing Preschool for my 2-year-old. I've used the Playing Preschool before with my oldest when she was preschool aged, and we have really enjoyed it. And this is our first year with The Good and the Beautiful, and we also have really enjoyed it, and we'll be continuing on with it for our next school year. We started homeschooling in August, and we will be finishing up a little bit towards the end of May. This week that you're seeing this, we are taking a spring break. And then after that, we'll have only about maybe six or 7 weeks left in our homeschool year. And then if you're interested in seeing what we're going to be planning on doing during the summer, make sure that you leave a comment down below, and I can totally put that video together for you after I finish kind of piecing together what our summer is going to be looking like. So to start off, I just kind of wanted to go through and share what our daily routine looks like. If you want a little bit more information on what this looks like, or what it did look like in the fall, I'll make sure to link down in the description box a video that I did that just kind of went through our morning as a homeschool family. But generally, my girls wake up usually between 6:45 and 7, and they just kind of hang out and chill in their rooms until about 7:15. And then they get out of bed, they make their beds, they get dressed, and then they also put away their laundry, put away their dirty laundry, and I do their hair. And then we come downstairs to our kitchen to have breakfast. I make the girls breakfast. Usually it's just something fast and simple with some fruit, maybe a yogurt. And while they're eating, I work on unloading the dishwasher and reloading it. And then after the girls finish breakfast, they work on their dishwasher chores. So Lucy, my oldest, puts away the silverware, and Isla, my youngest, puts away all of the kid plates and bowls and cups that is in a cupboard where she can reach. And then after we do that, we come together for our calendar time. We start out our calendar time with an opening prayer, and then we do the calendar. We go over what day it is, sing a song about days of the week and months of the year. If there's any like holiday or birthday or something coming up, lots of times we'll count to see how many days it is until that specific event. And then after we do calendar, we do the Pledge of Allegiance and any kind of memorization thing that we're working on right now. This is Lucy's first year in 4-H, and so this year we've been working on learning the 4-H pledge, just so she knows that, and Isla has also been learning it along with her. And then after we do the pledge and any memorization things that we're working on, then we kind of shift our calendar time to really focus on Isla. Like I mentioned, Lucy did all of this kind of stuff with me when I did preschool with her when she was Isla's age. And so this time I really focus on Isla being able to verbalize and answer the questions that I'm asking. And Lucy's there just, again, to review and to kind of help Isla, show her how we can sit and listen to someone else speaking. If Isla needs help with something, Lucy can answer. And some of the things are just good review for Lucy as well. So from that point, we do the weather. We sing a song, and Isla tells me what the weather's like and points it out to me on a chart that we have. And then we also have a chart that has a bunch of different faces that show different emotions. And so we talk about how we're feeling that day. And then something that I've been working on with them is knowing the continents and being able to identify them on a map. So again, I have just a little poster that we sing a song about the continents, and then I usually ask them, every other kid, can you find North America on the map, or can you find Asia on the map? And they take turns pointing to where the different continents are. After we do that, then we go over letters. I have these letter cards that I had from when I was a teacher in my first grade classroom, and they have just the letter and then a picture underneath of an object that starts with the same sound as the letter. And we go through the letters that Isla has learned so far in her preschool curriculum, and we make the sign for them, and then we do a little chant. So like if we're doing A, we say A says ah, ah, ah. And we do that 2 times, and then we do that for all of the letters that she knows and has learned in her preschool curriculum. This is good for Lucy, especially too, just to help reinforce and remember those basic phonics sounds, especially with vowels. She sometimes struggles with a couple of the vowels, so it's a good review for her overall, especially as she is learning a lot of like the rule breakers now in her curriculum. It's good for her to remember just like the basic first level phonics sounds that these letters are making. So after we review those letter sounds, then we recite the poem and sing the song that go with Isla's preschool unit. So with the Playing Preschool curriculum, each unit has a song and a poem that go with the unit that you're supposed to do during the calendar time. And a lot of this calendar time is modeled off of how Busy Toddler has her preschool curriculum set up. She suggests doing a daily calendar time and then has like a list of things that you can go over and do during that time. So we do that as well as add in a few other things. So at the end of that only takes maybe 15 minutes. It doesn't take super long, but it's just a good time for us to come together, start our homeschool day together. And then from there, we kind of separate and Lucy starts doing her work and Isla will go off and play until I am able to start doing her preschool work with her. So after this point, Isla goes and plays something, usually just with toys. Sometimes if she wants an activity, I'll set one up for her, but most of the time she just plays independently. While I start, Lucy, she prefers to do her math first. So we start with her math lesson. I go through and do it with her. At the end of her math lesson, there is an independent practice section where she is reviewing concepts from previous lessons. And so while she's working on her independent math section, I will go over with Isla. We'll read a story that goes along with her unit, and then we'll do an activity from the Busy Toddler curriculum. And those are super easy. It's a very open and go type of curriculum, which I like. There is a little bit of prep, but all of the supplies are things that I already have on hand, and they're mostly just household things and don't usually, if I do need to prep them, it takes me less than 5 minutes to put the activity together. I don't usually prep them like the night before or prep a weeks of activities out or anything, just because they take such little time that I can just put them together pretty easily. So I'll do that with Isla while Lucy's finishing her independent work. And then when Lucy is done with her independent work, I will come back with her and start on her language arts with her. And Isla will either continue the activity that I did with her, or she will just play something else. Or if there's time, I'll set up an additional activity for her to start with. And then I'll go back to Lucy and do her language arts with her. She starts out by reading some phonics cards, and occasionally we'll read like a phonics reader, just as kind of like a warm-up. And then we actually get into her language arts lesson, which again is usually something that she'll need to do with me, where she's learning a new concept. And then she'll go into an independent practice section where, again, she's reviewing things that she's learned in previous lessons, or extending things that she's learned in previous lessons, or practicing different concepts that she has learned. I really like this language arts curriculum from The Good and the Beautiful because it does a good job of teaching language arts and incorporates geography, art, science, social studies as well, in little bits and pieces throughout. So I really like that. For this school year, again, since this is our first like real year homeschooling, like real school, not just preschool, I just decided to take it super slow, just do kind of basic, bare minimum. My state doesn't require any kind of like letter of intent or adhering to certain subjects or curriculum until your student is 7 years old at the start of the school year. And so since Lucy doesn't qualify for that, she was only 5 when the school year started. She's only 6 now. I haven't had to follow any of my state's regulations for homeschooling yet. And so that's why this year I really took just doing math and language arts and handwriting with Lucy, and then just using like the science and the social studies that are already embedded in her curriculum. And we haven't been doing really too much extra with that. I'm hoping in the next school year to maybe work in some specific science units, especially as Lucy has started to develop interest in nature and animals and plants and things like that. If you're interested in a video of what my plans are for my next school year, again, make sure that you leave those comments down below and I can totally work on that video this summer and get that out for you as well. Okay, so back to Lucy. She's done her language arts. She's working on her independent practice. While she's working on that independent practice in language arts, I will go back with Isla. If there's a second activity to do, there's always like an additional activity in the Busy Toddler curriculum. and I don't always do it, or sometimes I modify it. So some days there's a second activity, some days I don't do a second activity. But if there is, I'll go back, I'll read another story with Isla, do her second activity with her, and set her up with that. And then from there, as I'm doing that with Isla, Lucy will finish up her independent practice on her language arts and then move on to her independent practice handwriting. She can just open up to the next page and go. She doesn't really need any assistance from me on that. So as soon as she is done with handwriting, we come back together and do, I just call it like our read aloud time, but it's probably closer to like a morning basket type of situation where we just have a bunch of things that we kind of circle through. Most of the time we do every single thing every day, just because most of them are very short and don't take like a ton of time. So for our read aloud time, we do some like church curriculum called Come Follow Me, where we study a different book of scripture every year. And so this year, I just start that out during our read aloud time. We'll either like watch a video or read a scripture and talk about it, just talk about a point that's in the scripture reading for that week. And after we do that, then we do some poetry together. We read a few poems. I've just been working through different anthologies. We started out with like Mother Goose. We've gone through a couple of anthologies. Right now we're working on Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. And we just read, I don't know, anywhere from 2 to 4 poems a day. And then after we do our poetry, Lucy and Isla got a subscription from their grandma to the Ranger Rick magazine. So we'll read a couple pages in that. And then from there, we'll read from one of the Julia Rothman anatomy books. Right now, I think we're on Wildlife Anatomy. We've been reading through some of those throughout the school year. We've checked a few out from the library at the beginning of the school year just so I can make sure that we liked them. And then Lucy has gotten additional books for our home library for her birthday and for Christmas. So we have quite a few of them. She really, really loves them. I really like them. They provide lots of good facts. And they're all illustrated and are very good and beautiful looking illustrations. And between the Ranger Rick and the anatomy books, I've just been kind of counting that as a little bit more in-depth in our science area. Just again, because it's something that Lucy is interested in, something Isla will pay attention to. And so that's just kind of part of our read aloud time, where I'm just reading a couple pages of those things. We're kind of talking about them. If there's any questions, we can kind of go deep dive those a little bit later. Okay, and then after we finish up that, we usually read a chapter from the read aloud book that we're working on. This year we have read a handful of read alouds. We've read Winnie the Pooh, some of the Dory Phantasmagoria series. Right now we're reading The Trumpet of the Swans, which we are really liking, especially since it takes place in Montana where we live. So my girls have really found that to be interesting and are really enjoying that. So, and we've also read The Cricket in Times Square. My girls also really enjoyed that as well. So we just read a chapter from that. And then after that, that's kind of the end of our official homeschool morning. And then from there, my girls will go play. I'll finish like tidying the kitchen, getting things ready for lunch. If there's any kind of dinner preparation, I'll work on doing that, or doing any kind of like cleaning or tidying, while my girls just have some independent play. They play pretty well together. If it's nice, they might go outside. And then from there, we have lunch. And then after lunch is quiet time. Isla still naps, and then Lucy reads or listens to audiobooks for a while as she plays. And then in the afternoons, they play outside or play together. And that's kind of our homeschool day. This is kind of, like I said, our daily rhythm, and kind of the main things that we do every single day. Now, our weekly schedule is a little bit different than that. So next I'm just kind of I'm going to go over kind of how our weeks look overall, and you'll see kind of the key important things from our daily rhythm are happening pretty much every school day, but we don't always do all of our things just because of how our schedule is different. So for Mondays, we actually don't do school on Mondays. That is my husband's day off. He has Sundays and Mondays off instead of a traditional Saturday, Sunday off. And so with his work schedule, and so we take Mondays to be like our field trip day, our out of house day, our family day. And so on those days are days that we do field trips. We might go to like our museum at our local university. They have a really good like dinosaur display. They have some good nature displays, some historical displays, and they do that once a month. That museum has free entry for homeschoolers 1 to 2 times a month. which happen to just fall on Mondays. And so that works out good for us. So one of the parents will take the girls, either me or my husband will take the girls to go do that, while the other one stays home and can work on stuff. Like me, I usually use that time to film videos when it's my turn to stay home. And then my husband also has a YouTube channel, and so he uses that time as well when I take the girls to go to do some filming for his channel as well. If we're not going to that museum, we have a pass to our science center, which has a good like preschool class on Mondays. And then, so we do that probably once a month. And then my husband has a rock climbing pass to a rock climbing gym. And as part of his pass, he can bring one guest a month. And so once a month, he'll alternate which girl he takes to go rock climbing. So they also do that once a month as well. In addition to that, we also have a play group with our church that happens to meet on Mondays. So if we aren't doing a field trip, or if we're back from our field trip in time, I will take the girls to go do that. Like I said, we also do lots of family time. So if we want to go do an activity or something together as a family, we will usually schedule those on Monday. We also do lots of one-on-one time as well, where I will take one kid, my husband will take one kid, and we'll both go do something with them. So like if Isla is going rock climbing with my husband, then I'll take Lucy and we'll like go run errands or go get a treat or go do something. And then when it's nice, again, because we live in Montana, we live in a very beautiful natural place. And there's lots of, it's like the perfect place to be outside pretty much all the time during the nice months. So when it's spring and summer and even into the fall, Mondays are also days where we do nature walks, go on hikes. We might go paddleboarding or kayaking in the summer. And then because Monday is also part of my husband's weekend, we also sometimes use it as a day for traveling or as part of like a trip that we are going on. So Mondays don't look normal, which is another reason why we love homeschooling, is because we don't have to go to school on Monday, which is the day my husband has off from work. So it works really well and helps for us to be very flexible. And then for Tuesdays, we just have a regular day where we follow the daily rhythm that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Wednesdays, my husband goes into work later, and so he's here in the mornings. And so on Wednesdays is a day where he does school with Lucy. We don't do any preschool with Isla that day. Like, we still read her stories and she still plays and, gets to be a kid. But we don't do any formal curriculum with her on those days. And then my husband usually gets them up. I help get them dressed and do their hair. And then he does breakfast with them and then does Lucy's homeschool. And then he takes them to a class at our library, which is like a little dance exercise class for preschoolers. And Lucy still enjoys going, so she goes with him as well to that. And then during Wednesday mornings are the time where I do most of my YouTube work. I do most of my editing, my uploading, those kinds of things, as well as any kind of like calls or appointments or anything that I have to make. I try to do all of those on Wednesday mornings. And then when they get back from their dance class, my husband leaves for work, and then I do lunch and do the afternoon and evening with my kids. So on Wednesdays, when my husband is doing school with Lucy, they just go through her book. So she does math, her language arts. She'll occasionally do her handwriting depending on how much time they have. And then on Thursdays, again, is our regular day. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are kind of like my anchor days, where I know those are the days where I can get all of my things done. All of the read alouds, all of the preschool with Isla, not just like the bare minimum of Lucy's coursework. So then on Fridays, during part of the year, Lucy has a homeschool PE class that meets at like 9:30, and it's 20 to 30 minutes away from our house. So we need to have her school finished up by like 9 so that we can leave and get to that on time. So usually on Fridays, if it's a PE day, I will just do schoolwork with Lucy. I'll just do kind of like what my husband does with her on Wednesdays, where we'll just do her math, her language arts, maybe handwriting. If there's time, or if she wants to work on it in the car, she can do that. If it's not a PE day, then we'll just have another regular day where we do, I'll do Isla's preschool with her. We'll do our read alouds. So that's kind of just an overview of our daily and weekly rhythms. If you are interested in more homeschooling content, make sure that you like this video and leave a comment down below on what you would like to see. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.